Geotab's been around for about 20 years right now. It all starts from a little device that we have. And that device plugs into the onboard diagnostic port of a vehicle. And we're really that connected vehicle platform for commercial vehicles. We're connected right now to about 1.6 million commercial vehicles. And we pull in almost 40 billion raw records a day into our platform to do some really cool analysis. And our customers range in size from mammoth courier companies through to delivery companies, municipalities, you name it, just a wide range of companies. And the types of data that we pull in are things like hazardous driving areas. We pull in engine RPM. We pull in windshield wiper activation, a whole whack-load of data from the engine computer. And from this, we do many different things. But the things that we do for our customers really boil down to productivity, safety, and compliance. And this is the reason why a lot of fleet managers choose to leverage this data. But we go beyond that as well too. So it started off really just as a fleet management platform, but the uses for data, especially in this day and age with AI and when we're looking at things like predictive maintenance, the possibilities are really endless. So picture you're a waste management company and you need to automatically bill your customers based on the waste that you're collecting. So it's not only a function of the waste that you're collecting, but the distance that you travel to go pick it up, right? So using a telematics device and GPS location, you go to the place to pick up the waste, right? So we've already tracked that amount of data. And then what we've done is we got a little IOX device that's on the side of our device, and it connects up to the weight scale. Right? So then what you're doing is you're measuring the weight that you're actually collecting from the customer, and you're bringing it back to the depot. And that transaction sends an invoice automatically to the customer. We do a lot of work in predictive analysis as well too, predictive maintenance. So looking at when a battery might die in a vehicle. And you might think, okay, well, it's not that much to replace a battery in a vehicle, which it isn't, but the cost for our customers of being down is where there's a huge savings for them. So if we can tell you even a week or a month or even a couple of months in advance that this battery is going to fail, that can save you a heck of a lot of time and your reputation to your customers. So the use cases, again, are so widespread, but there's a couple that I think are pretty strong for our customers that showcase both integration and predictive maintenance with AI. I think this is one of the most exciting things for me is because it's taking data that is not only of benefit to our fleet customers, but looking at how it can also benefit municipalities, both at a small local level as well as a state level too. And here's a picture that puts it into perspective. So we've got thousands of vehicles driving around all of these different cities, California and elsewhere, Toronto, right? So what are these vehicles telling us about the world in which they're driving? They are sensors on wheels that are telling us something, and we don't have to install these physical sensors to get a grasp on what's going on within our community, specifically when it revolves around commercial activity in the city. We can look at so many different things. You want to look at something as simple as weather patterns? Well, connected up to the 1.6 million vehicles, we've got virtual weather sensors. So they're little devices that tell us hyper-locally what the temperature is right now in all sorts of areas of the city. So I can look at urban hotspots and issues like that. I can look at, in real time, is it raining right now within a hyper-local area based on windshield wiper activation? Not only that, I can tell you, is it raining, but what's also the probability of it snowing in this hyper-local area? I think lastly, one of the most exciting things from a smart city perspective, for me specifically within the context of California, has to do with the acquisition we made last year with Fleet Karma. And that combined with the 1.6 million vehicles that we already have allow us to look at things like electric vehicle suitability assessments, right? Which vehicles can I replace within a fleet? But not only which vehicles can I replace within a fleet with electric vehicles, but what is if I were to do this within Los Angeles or San Francisco, could I actually do it? Or is the charging infrastructure enough, right? Will the utility grid support it? We all know that's a huge problem. If you have a ton of EVs on the grid, will it support it? So these are really interesting things that we hope to bring to bear with the data that we have access to. And I think you'd struggle to find a richer data set on the planet when it comes to this kind of rich vehicle data than the one at Geotab. So I think we're at a perfect position right now. Technology is converging so well, and it's really all about the data at this point in time. It doesn't really matter where the data comes from. You have to understand that it's coming from a quality source, but then it's what you do with it. And we are just at such a pivotal moment right now where we have some amazing democratization of artificial intelligence coming along, making it easier for people to actually activate and create value out of a lot of this data. The IoT devices are getting the data to our platforms much quicker over cellular networks, and we're seeing so much more on the front line with things like 5G coming in place. And the storage capacities and the amount of compute power available out there from so many different cloud vendors, absolutely incredible. So now is really the time to be able to activate on a lot of this. So if I look at the frontier, it's about what we can now do leveraging AI with this data, irrespective of device, right? And having all of this data culminate in one location where you can really activate on it to provide some strong business value. We are at that point now. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with 5G over the next little while, specifically within the realm of vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. We've done a lot of different tests with vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. For example, we did one in Detroit where if I'm a long-haul vehicle coming through the city, every single time I stop, it's not only gas and vehicle and idling wasted at that intersection, but there's a lot of emissions as well too. I want to be able to make sure that my vehicles can get through these intersections as quickly as possible, right? So what happens is the device communicates through to the intersection. It says, okay, if you're about to turn yellow, I want to extend it by green for another few seconds, right? With the latency that you have with cellular V2X, that communication can happen very, very quickly. And with 5G, I think it's going to improve what can happen from a latency perspective. There's some debate whether people are going to DSRC or cellular V2X 5G. I think in reality you'll probably have a mix of the two technologies come into play. They do have pros and cons, but I think it's exciting, specifically around CV2X. And what's exciting about it is that it can be fairly ubiquitous whenever it does become a reality, and developing these amazing applications that can leverage this constant stream of very fast data coming in, and the AI that you can apply on top of that. I think it's going to take us that next step.